Hi, I'm Sandy from Lightning Tools, and I'm here again with Brett. Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Sandy. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks.
Good.
I've been watching some of the Ignite sessions and finding lots of cool new stuff, as always.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty exciting times for the Microsoft Office world, at
Mm,
least. So yeah, some of the things that are being introduced in yeah, Outlook and OneDrive and SharePoint and Teams and so
mm,
on is really exciting. Sometimes yeah, you go to these Ignite events and maybe that there's something brand new that's in Minecraft or in Azure or something like that. You know, it's like, but yeah, there's some really exciting things I think for us.
hmm hmm
So yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah,
So
like what, for example?
I was gonna ask you the same thing, but yeah, I mean, there's obviously in Teams. I mean, that's really fast moving anyway.
Right.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of announcements around that, but the one that excites me the most is Loop.
Yep, me too.
This is yeah, brand new product called Microsoft Loop, and it's something that at the moment, at least, it's working in Teams and it's working in Outlook and also in OneDrive.
Or
And
will be very soon, I think. Not.
yes, yeah, yeah.
They said rolling out this month, parts of it.
Yeah, so what it basically is, I mean, if I perhaps describe the problem, and you know, this is something we've probably spent 20 minutes looking at, so correct me if I'm wrong here, but um, the, the problem that it solves is one that I'm sure everybody that has used Outlook, especially has experienced. If we just look at the Outlook side of it, and
Mm,
that is that when you get involved in back and forth messages and so on, and people are sending attachments and maybe updated attachments and so on. Of course, in a perfect world, people may actually store that attachment rather than as an attachment. They would store it in a document library or in OneDrive and send you a link to it, but
mm,
quite often they don't. Um, but I mean, even regardless, if you're discussing something about that document,
mm,
it can be very hard to actually figure out what the person's talking about without actually going in and opening up the attachment or following it through into a OneDrive or wherever it might be, and then trying to figure out what they're actually trying to say. And then of course you're going to reply, but you're applying out of context to
mm,
where that document is.
mhm.
So the example that actually occurred today with regards to this was I was sent some sales numbers with some predictions for the next couple of months
Mm,
since we're getting towards the end of the year. And it wasn't the entire spreadsheet.
mm,
Um, just a small snippet of that spreadsheet was sent across to me. And that was useful because yeah, I could understand clearly what that person was trying to explain to me in the
mhm.
email. But I wanted to reply and say, yeah, well, what happens if this happens? you know, so what do I do in that regard? Well, I could explain it, and then you're back into that circle where maybe they don't quite get what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
So the idea to perhaps resolve that is for you to use like a table as such as a canvas that can be embedded into a message that freely allows multiple people to be able to update
Mm.
it, play it with it. You
So it's
can
live.
it's basically a live component. Yeah, absolutely. So even if somebody was sending that to me, I could go through and update that in Outlook or even in the Teams conversation, and they're going to see my updates immediately as soon
Mhm.
as I've done that. And of course, yeah, it is contextual, and it's obvious what I'm trying to say in that regard. So yeah, you don't get all of those backward and forward messages. If that was an attachment, somebody said, yeah, have a look at this attachment. I've put this together, and I could reply and say, yeah, well, I've updated the attachment, and you don't know which one's going to perhaps be
Mhm.
the most recent
Mhm.
version, so on. So
Especially if you have multiple people corresponding on that thread,
yeah, that's just one to one. Yeah, there could
right?
be a whole team of people that are involved in that conversation as well. So there
Mhm.
was other canvases as well, not just that. Do you want to sort of talk about some of the different canvases as well that you've seen?
Yeah, yeah, I especially liked there is a video that you can watch if you're registered for Ignite. It's an on-demand video that Greg Howard is speaking in, and he's talking about how Microsoft themselves have been using these Loop components for months now internally, and they're planning to release those this month to Teams and Outlook and OneNote. And I especially liked the examples he gave about having like status check-ins. So there's sort of like a status table where people can contribute their thoughts on something, and then that's again live. So it can be initiated in Teams, but it could also be brought into an email or also part of a OneNote meeting notes, and it's all the same thing really. I liked the sort of technical aspect of that he mentioned, that it's actually a file in OneDrive, and so that helps me understand that it is just one thing and you're all interacting with that. I mean, in kind of the same way as you would if it was just some Excel file in OneDrive, but it's a Loop component that lives in OneDrive and that you can all collaborate on and see, who said what, which is also helpful. Like if you hover over it, you can see which person said that thing. Then there's also versioning available so that if you needed to roll back something got deleted by mistake, I guess, or something like that. But yeah, I could see that being useful in like a collaborative environment like we have at Lightning Tools, and everybody being remote currently except for you right now.
Yeah, I'm the only one that's not remote. I'm the hub. Yeah.
Anyhow, um, but I could see that, with our developers and our support team and everybody being in different places, where we could check in with each other in a kind of a structured way, not just chats in Teams, which is what we currently are doing mostly, or the post tab in our R&D team or something like that. Could be, a status table for specific things that we're trying to check on, projects and so on. So yeah, I'm really excited about giving that a try, and I hope that comes out as soon as they say.
Yeah, and there's talk, I don't think it's going to happen yet, but I think there was reference to maybe it happening at Microsoft Build or something like
Mm,
that, is the opportunity to also create third-party
mm,
Loop components. And one that springs to mind immediately is the SWOT analysis, which is something we regularly use for all sorts of things in Lightning Tools. But one of the reasons for using it is actually gathering ideas about our products and identifying strengths, which is useful for the sales team and the marketing team, but also looking at what opportunities we have, and those opportunities can turn into roadmap items, and likewise with threats and so
mhm,
on. So gathering that, when you're physically in person, sat around a conference table with a whiteboard, it's very easy to do a SWOT analysis, and there's great interaction in the room. Lots of people are outspoken and so on, and you lose a lot of that when you're trying to do that through a Teams meeting.
mhm,
And at best, you're probably sharing an application and trying to type in what
mhm,
people are saying. Now, I know
mhm,
there is, the whiteboard and so on that you can have inside a team. I don't find that as easy to use at the moment. Yeah, I love the concept of it. I think it'd be great. I'm just not used to using it, I
mhm,
guess, as it's a thing, compared to a physical whiteboard.
mhm,
It's so much more intuitive. But yeah, I could see that type of idea. If you've got that as a table inside a team, where people can contribute their own ideas. So it's not one
mhm,
person sharing their screen and doing all the typing.
mhm.
Uh, Multiple people could be updating the strengths and the opportunities and the threats and so on simultaneously and speaking out loud. And I think that
Right.
would be perhaps even better than what you'd get out of the in-person
Mhm.
event as well. So
Right.
yeah.
And then that's always there too. So maybe, I mean, this happens to me personally because I am a slow thinker. I come out of those meetings and then a half an hour later, I've thought of something else that I'd like to add, and I could just go in and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the whole point. I think it's
Mhm,
I think it'd be that'd be a great addition, and yeah, ideas like that would be tremendous. So maybe it doesn't have to be actually a SWOT analysis thing.
mhm.
Maybe that could actually just be um,
Ongoing.
a table or whatever it
Mhm.
might be. Mm.
Yeah. Yep. And I
So
liked that they have another example where people were having a chat and they sort of did a little mini breakout of sort of a side conversation and then pinned that into the chat. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. And so there it's then kept historically that or documented, because then it is a file and a thing that you can then put elsewhere.
yeah, yeah, absolutely right. And I think, time will tell. Greg mentioned that they've been using it and they can't do without it. But I wonder what the take up would be in a lot of organizations, whether they'd actually find this intuitive enough to actually adopt it and
Mhm.
and do it regularly, as opposed to sticking to their old-fashioned habits of sending emails as an attachment
Mhm.
and so on. Because that's the only place where I see that this wouldn't take off, is people don't know what to do with it.
Mm,
you know,
yeah,
uh,
adoption is always key. So yeah, you kind of have to. I mean, if it comes from the top down, if we have a meeting and that's the way we're doing it, then we're using this component to do that, then people would get used to it, I guess.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Mm.
I think that'd be good, or at least see the benefits of
Right, right,
doing
right,
that. Yeah, wonderful. Well, we've only had day one of
right.
the event so far, so I think it'd be good to maybe catch up with some of the things that Lightning Tools is doing
Hmm.
next week, but
Hmm.
also maybe also contribute a bit more about what happened here at Ignite as well.
Yep,
So.
sounds like a great plan.
All right, wonderful. Well, Sandy, I hear you've got a few days leave, so
I do.
enjoy that time,
Thank you.
and try not to drink too much. And yeah,
Okay.
we'll
All
catch
right.
up soon.
All right. I'll see you later.
Yeah,
Thanks.
take care,
Bye.
Sandy. Bye.